Today I felt like putting some of the tools I had been learning about to use, using reverb, tail control, and also just seeing if we could make a tighter, better beat. We're at 140 BPM here, kind of in a bassy sort of sound, but I don't know, this has come out much more video gamey than bassy. Yeah, tell me what you think of this. A couple of really fun things we're doing in here. We started off with this sound, which is a sound we made in Serum here. It was originally this patch with this MIDI up here. And a lot of this is happening in Serum. If I turn off all the effects we have on the channel, it's pretty close to what you had at the start. We've got this sort of LFO here, and that is attached to the compressor here. I'm just a multi-band mode. It's just attached to the mix. Using the compressor as kind of color. As a color here instead of actually as a utility there. And then we have this sort of tremolo effect attached to the filter. And how fast this one is moving is attached to this guy here. So it goes if I turn this off, that whole effect goes away. All this is on top of the reverb, so the tails are kind of part of the sound rather than being like a thing that actually gives space here. When you start to filter reverb tails, they can very quickly start to not sound like reverb. There's some distortion as well, but it's mainly just a basic saw and a basic sine, 16 voices of each. And then we're also using this envelope here to control the level on the noise and the cutoff on the filter, as well as inversely on the reverb. We talked about this in a previous episode where I was like kind of walking through Serum presets that I'd found that I thought were great. They had an envelope set to kind of having it reversed, where when you play a note, it goes down, and then when you let off the note, it goes up. So you hear the reverb's kind of just coming in there at the end, especially if I turn these off. So it kind of like ducks the reverb when actual notes are happening. So that sound, then you put OTT on top of it. Put some EQ to take out the bass frequencies. And then this compressor is doing a lot of the sound there. And then also this filter. Hearing that little, like, listen to the end, like there's just kind of this noise, this low to mid noise. Then we have some drums. All these are virtual riot sounds. The only kind of fun thing that's happening here really is this guy. Cool sound. He was originally this sound up here. And then we put shaper box on top with a time shaper to give it this sort of, a Latin sort of groove. And then also on the drums, we have kind of two different kicks and two different snares. So the kick, the main guy we have there, very, very compressed, very distorted. And then also this guy, very, very muted. But he plays kind of around the snares. And just adds this little like extra note every once in a while. It's a little extra rhythm that would have been like really too much to use this big, like one-shot clonk sound with. So we use that with the subsonic snare there. We have a sub bass. Nothing complicated here. Just doing sub bass things. And then the rest of the sound is this square chords. Really fun sound here. Originally, this sound, kind of two different instances of this shape just 12 voices of unison here, one voice of this. I don't actually think there's anything really moving. Oh, the sync here is moving this shape over the course of bars, and just it kind of puts the sync sound at different spots in the MIDI, depending on where those notes are happening in the measure. The crazy tail stuff that's happening is all in Shaperbox on these channels. I'm split into two different channels here because Shaperbox is very like a measure specific, and I wanted this to be very measure specific. So because there's two very different rhythms in the kind of the first 4 bars and the second 4 bars of these sections, I put them on 2 different channels here, so I could have 2 different shaper boxes. So and that's just this wall of sound reverb, and just slowly bringing in the volume of that reverb. We're leaving the mix and the dry wet and everything kind of in the same spots, and then a little bit of drive as well, just to make it distort at the end. A little bit. And you see here, the automation has to be slightly different because the notes happen in different spots. So yeah, and that leaves us, there's also this little tail thing down here. Which is nice. The only kind of fun thing we're doing is automating some tremolo in here on the very ends, which is mainly on this guy, the first sound we made, which plays off really nicely with this guy. And it takes us from what is kind of like what feels like kind of a big space. It almost sounds like there's like a tremolo on the master there. It's pretty cool. I was pretty proud of like the way that the space played here and the way that the sounds bounced around. And yeah, but it is 2 in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed. This was just a good exploration for the day. Maybe we'll complete this more at another time. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.